Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me. How are you? Have a good day, everyone, and God bless you. Alright, now we will come to today's news. And the one thing that the FBI, the DOJ, the deep state, the swamp, and all of these corrupt politicians fear is the evidence President Trump actually has against him, and especially hard evidence, like this CCTV video recordings of the FBI ransacking Mar-a-Lago in search of anything they could get their hands on in order to try to frame Trump, even going through Melania, his underwear drawer. I'm sure they took some underwear and they wanted to use it later. Who knows these sick people in the FBI who continue to wage their war against Trump? This is all stemming because Trump has the actual, or had, I don't know, if he still had, maybe he does, who knows, had the information, the documents from the Crossfire hurricane. All these corrupt FBI officials and politicians, and other deep state people connected, and he had planned to make this stuff public, which should be public. The public should see what our intel agencies were doing against a duly elected president. And Trump CCTV tapes could be the one thing that brings down the FBI. Yes. They weren't intending this. I'm a big fan of political blogger Don Suber. He's always got a very interesting topics and takes. I saw a piece that he did today that caught my attention. It was on the CCTV tape. So here it is. Here's a clip. If you guys remember this clip from my handy, says Eric Trump says the FBI asked for surveillance cameras to be turned off during the execution of the search warrant at Mar-a-Lago, says Trump will release photo footage at the right time. We also learned that there almost wasn't a tape. Defense reportedly requested security cameras be turned off and they were, but President Trump's lawyer stepped in and had him turned back on. And that could have been the FBI undoing. That's what Dan Suber thinks could happen. And I hope he's right. Don knows how the FBI operates. He had stated his in his piece by talking about D.C. Mayor Marion Barry, and how the FBI entrapped him on tape, which resulted in an indictment, that he says they had him on tape having an affair with a woman, who was not his bride, and using coke. That was enough to indict him. But when the case came to trial, his lawyers demanded the FBI show jurors to hold tape, and for 38 minutes to court saw Barry's ex-girlfriend Hazel Diane Rashidi Moore tried to get Barry to do drugs. When he finally did, the FBI quickly arrest them. He other dose fate, in famous words. It set me up. Once the jury saw the entire tape, they had no choice but to acquit him. And that brings us to President Trump and also his tape. The tape that may very well change everything. Don goes on to discuss how closely guarded the tape is. CNN says they're not even sure if anybody outside of the family and lawyers have seen it. What's on tape and the people what's on the tape? And people inside Trump's camp says that it's not a matter if the family shares to take. It's a matter of when. Don says the FBI fears the tape and points to the Washington Examiner article citing former Deputy Director of the FBI, Andrew McCabe, claiming that there would be deep concern within the viewer if that video was released. Of course, McCain cited national security and the safety of the FBI agents, but Don believes if it goes way beyond that, he thinks that the FBI is scared stiff, that their overreach was captured on video. Don believes things could also get ugly, that the FBI agents who conducted the raid could actually face obstruction of justice charges. And that tape could be exhibit A in their trial, a trial that takes place in Florida, not in the DC swamp. I don't know if it'll play out that way. But I hope Don is right. He offers a lot more meat to back it up in his theory. So I encourage you to head over. You can click on this when you click on the link in the description. So what do you guys think? I know the FBI is worried. I know the DOJ is worried. These people are worried about their crime as being actually revealed on tape, and it's something that could hopefully bring down the entire couple within DC, but only time will tell. And huge victory for Donald Trump. This is just out right now. The Guardian. First thing, judge orders DOJ to prepare redacted Trump search affidavit. Justice Department opposed release of document, but Florida federal judge says portions of it could be presumptively unsealed. And you have a situation, ladies and gentlemen. In a surprise move, the Justice Department has been ordered to redact the affidavit used to obtain the warrant to search Donald Trump's resort in Florida in such a way as not to jeopardize the investigation any, in case it is decided next week that his documents can be unsealed. The order from federal Judge OK charted a middle ground between the Justice Department's motion to oppose and sealing any part of the affidavit and motions from a coalition of media outlets and calls from the former president to release the highly sensitive document. Ruling from the bench, the judge gave the department a week to propose redactions to the affidavit which contains the probable cause. That's the issue. Probable cause used to justify the extraordinary search at Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort over his unauthorized retention of top-secret and classified documents. That is an inaccurate statement. But of course, this is The Guardian. We don't have any evidence that he did anything wrong. We have an informant. We have somebody informing the Federal Bureau of Investigation through the Department of Justice. I believe that Trump had restricted data tab secret intelligence. So they have been okay. Here's what is really important. They have been talking. Trump's legal team has been talking to the Department of Justice. And also the Federal Bureau of Investigation even got a thank you note from a high-ranking official at the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Several months back, he's been talking to the National Archives, the Department of Justice, Merrick Garland, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation for about a year and a half. Now he's out of an office for over a year and a half. The entire government knew the boxes that Trump took. It's not Clinton's private servers that were secret that President Obama didn't know of, until he watched CNN. It's not Clinton's team, and I want to Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump 2024. Nobody will be happier on the planet than I will when Hillary runs versus Trump. And I believe Trump will defeat Clinton again. But anyway. This is not Clinton's private servers that were hidden from President Obama. Do you understand that Clinton had servers hidden from President Obama? Why did President Obama learn about his Secretary of State servers from CNN? And also, how did President Obama get 30 million pages of unclassified documents? Does that make any sense? Does that make any sense at all? But anyway? How Clinton's team transferred top-secret and special access program intelligence from secure government servers onto her servers. Strzok McCain, Clapper, Brennan, Comey, they don't know. They know. But they're not telling anybody. Okay, so they know. But they're not telling anybody. And it's almost certainly a criminal. Or she got tacit approval from high-ranking officials, President Obama included, in the United States government. And that's also a criminal act. You can't do that. You couldn't even become an employee at IBM, or Tesla or Microsoft, or you couldn't be an employee at Target. You couldn't be an employee of Walmart and just start hooking up your own private servers. You'd be fired on the spot, but in President Obama's administration, no problem. And then you get people on Twitter. Oh my God, national security is at risk. You didn't care about top secret intelligence. Was on servers outside of the United States government for 4 years. And 30,000 emails deleted. What do you think they were doing? Then you get one person. I can't get this out of my mind. One very intelligent atheist interviewed the other day, and Anthony Brian Logan did an amazing video on this. It doesn't matter if Biden got kickbacks, Trump is worse. What did Trump do? That's worse. We had record low in poverty with Trump in 2019. According to CNN, 10% or so. We have close to 15% poverty rate now. We had record highs in household median income with Trump. What did this man do to you? Morally superior, highly educated liberal Democrat is almost always an atheist. What did this man do to you? What did Trump do to you? My God Almighty. What did Trump do? He presided over the highest record ever of household median income, and the lowest poverty rate in the country's history, or at least since it's been recorded in 1959. According to CNN, and every demographic was making more money. Every day the entire country was prospering in 2019 until Democrats gleefully tanked the U.S. economy because of their usual apoplectic and hysterical reaction to everything. And more people lost their lives under mashed potato brains. We had record lows in poverty, record highs in household median income. You can take your morally superior sensibilities that Trump tramples upon and remove them in place. Them where the sun doesn't shine. Nobody cares. But it's going to get worse, ladies and gentlemen. People are going to get even more irrational than they were. You're gonna see more people disown friends and family. They can't win any arguments. They don't know enough. They don't know the Steele dossier was purchased by Clinton. They don't understand Clinton servers were actually criminal acts. They don't understand that Hunter is selling access to the United States government to anyone giving him millions upon millions or hundreds of millions of dollars. If you look at all the different transactions, 150 financial transactions deemed suspicious. Trump doesn't have one financial transaction deemed suspicious. And if he did, he would have been indicted. They have nothing on Trump. They have a lot on Hillary and a lot of Hunter and a lot of other Democrats, but they don't get indicted because the system protects a certain political side. Then you get, well, Liz Cheney isn't the Democrat. Liz Cheney isn't lovely. Liz Cheney, you imbecile, voted 90% plus, fought alongside Trump according to 538. You can take your Liz Cheney argument and place it alongside the other arguments against Trump. Liz Cheney and Kinzinger and every other never Trump Republican want to make money, honey. That's why they, well, democracy, old liberals eat that up, and democracy really. Trump allocated more funding to historically black colleges and universities than any president ever made the funding permanent. This is a fact. Trump moved the embassy to Jerusalem, signed an executive order combating anti-Semitism on college campuses. Doha Agreement that Biden completely botched. He reversed U.S. foreign policy. Trump tariffs against China, very important. Hundreds of thousands of new manufacturing jobs. First president to step foot in North Korea. What did this man do to you to break you? What did Trump the Orange Menace do to break you in terms of your soul into? You don't believe in that in terms of your psyche? What did he do? Oh, well, he did this. He did that. Ah, that's according to sources familiar with the matter. You're talking about media. You're talking about Jimmy Kimmel. You're talking about CNN. Brian Stelter is out. You're talking about Juicy, Smelly A. You're talking about everybody who's desperate to try to create this contempt for Trump when he was very popular from the 80s until 2015. What did this man do to you, morally superior liberal Democrat? Do you like recession with mashed potato brains who slurs his speech? And then sells access to the US government with Hunter Wright, the emails in the New York Post that were suppressed and silenced by Twitter. And then you get all that's okay. Anything goes to prevent Trump from getting into the Oval Office that is the antithesis of democracy. That's how an authoritarian and a tyrant speaks. The people who claim to be the most tolerant and most intelligent and highly educated are the greatest authoritarians and tyrants. We can't have Trump. Too bad for you. If the electorate votes for Trump, and he gets back into the Oval Office, too bad for you. You'll just have to deal with record lows and poverty and record highs in household B and income. My God, the horror of that, as opposed to recession now, is only going to get worse. And inflation at 8.5%. Went from 9.1 to 8.5%. Wow. Democrats get away with everything from criminal activity to crappy economy to horrible foreign policy. And you know what? It's 2022. We're going into 2023. You want to know what I've learned? They don't care about value system because they have none. They care about power. They care about influence. Not about Trump. They do the same thing to DeSantis. And if Mitt Romney became the nominee or Liz Cheney, which would never happen in a million years, they would do the same thing to Liz Cheney. They would level all of media and the hysteria and the apoplectic irrational, allegations false, investigation based on false, allegations baseless claims, Steele dossier. They had purchased a Steele dossier, and Liz Cheney say that in a Wyoming hotel room, she was meeting with a Russian intelligence official. They would do anything to add flowerhead. They're capable, ladies and gentlemen, of anything. And the stupidest idea is that, well, a Trump's personality is to just, and I actually fell for that for a second. I was like, man, maybe DeSantis. Honestly, they would destroy him. DeSantis is fantastic. But they would destroy him. They would try to destroy him. And who knows, maybe he would do a better job than Trump at fighting back. Maybe he wouldn't. Who knows? Democrats realize that the only thing they have, because they don't have their policies. The Inflation Reduction Act is kind of like telling somebody that we have an 8.5 to 9.1% inflation. Oil is going back up. So what do you think's going to happen to inflation? And food prices are going to go back up too. And the economy is heading into a prolonged recession. And that's because of the policies of Biden and Democratic Party. Immediately. He got sued by oil and gas associations and 14 states. Now he's getting sued by environmental groups. So tell me how his policies work. They had the worst policies. Trump had the best policies. We had an amazing economy and a great foreign policy under Trump, but the media of the intelligentsia, we have the dumbest intelligentsia that's ever existed. They all melted down in this fine mist of hysterical fury and apoplectic indignation. Oh, my God, drop, and they accused him of things he didn't do. God bless him. God bless Donald Trump. He perfect? No. Are you perfect? No. Is the morally superior liberal Democrat perfect? Absolutely not. Am I perfect? No way. But God bless Donald Trump because he's fighting against the most arrogant, hypocritical, somewhat diabolical political side. Before I get there, let me ask you to please smash that like button and put your comment down below. Those are two biggest things you can do to help us. But while you're at it, if you haven't done so, hit the subscribe button.